All right, welcome to another episode of the Scripting Dead podcast. Um, Today, our guest is no other than the JavaScript Messiah himself, Sergii Kirianov. How are you, Sergei? Thank you for being here. Please go ahead and introduce yourself so everyone
Yes,
can know who
thank you
you
for
are.
that. Yeah, so my name is Sergey. I work as a developer advocate and also as a DX lead engineer at Alokai. I am a self-taught developer with almost 3 years of experience right now. That's a lot of years have passed already. Recently moved to Canada, live in Edmonton, Alberta.
All right.
That's quite in short.
Yeah. That's a nice summary, and I like to focus on the fact that you're self-taught because today the topic that we're going to cover is essentially um, the all the potential learning path there are for a developer to become an actual developer, to get a job and work as a one. So I want to get your opinion because I think it's still fresh. I've been doing it for over 20 years, so I have my own biases already at this point. But as you said, you've been at it for 3 years, so you still have that fresh memory of what it was like to go through the process, especially the fact that you were self-taught. You come from another profession, so why don't you tell us a little bit what was your journey to becoming a developer, and then we'll take it from there.
All right, so I was quite great with computers since I was a kid, and I loved it. And when we had some kind of a programmers classes in my high school, I was again like all fives. I mean, like in Ukraine, a five is like the top
Right.
mark. So I had always excellent marks and everything. But at that point, I think uh, the software development, general as an industry, was not that great developed in Ukraine. So nobody even thought, like of applying to go to university because I have a degree, right? I have two degrees actually. So, but nobody ever thought that like that would be a nice career path.
Right.
And so I started working as a seafarer, worked there for 10 years. And at some point I realized like I was making a lot of programs with Excel, like writing scripts, trying to make some like data structures. Now I understand what it is. But at that point, for me, it was just, like, I mean, like it's obvious, like you have a table with some data and
Right.
then you sort it or something. But turns out it's basically like no code tool at some point. And then one guy told me like, listen, what you are doing is basically a software developer. Like, go and check it. And I started learning. So I didn't have much options because I want to ship at that time. The only thing I had was basically Chrome.
All right.
In Chrome, you have console. So the only thing that runs in console is JavaScript. So, well, let's learn JavaScript. And I started learning. I have tried different approaches. I have tried it courses. I have tried books, just like building and fingering things around, trying to find out something. So yeah, I applied. I would say, except for the like bootstrap and formal education, I have applied most of the approaches to learn, and I have what I like the most and resources that I like the most and what I don't like at all.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
That's an interesting journey. So you spent 10 years working in a specific career, and then suddenly you went, you know what, fuck this, I want to code.
Yep. Exactly.
I'm just summarizing. Um,
Yeah.
and so you were forced to pick JavaScript. Clearly, uh, what worked for you? You said several things worked, several things didn't. What was your main way of working? Because if you were in a ship, did you have internet access? Was it good internet access?
Uh,
How did you get information?
so the internet access, it was not bad, but it was like 30 kilobytes per
Oof.
second
Hmm.
internet. So it was quite bad. I mean, you could download a book or buy a book or whatever, find some course, but it was mostly text-based courses
Right.
because of course, like I was not able to watch a video or something or download a huge video course. So I was not using any of those resources at first while I was still on the ship, and it was mostly text-based, blogs, tutorials, some books. Let's say like I think Eloquent JavaScript was one of them, and that was the book that made me quit JavaScript for like few months or so.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice book, but definitely not for the beginners because like how I was looking for books. I have no idea.
Right.
Like you go on the market, there are thousands of different books.
Yeah.
So what you do, like best books for beginners, Reddit. You go there, you check what you like the most, and a lot of people said like Eloquent JavaScript is so great for beginners. No, it's not. Please, I mean, unless you're brave enough, don't go into that. So yeah, and also FreeCode Camp because it is again mostly text based. It was taking some time to load the page and stuff, but it was pretty much working. Um, and I also had a hack. I am a hacker
All right.
in the Navy.
Interesting.
So there was an interesting. Basically, we had an internet on ship's computer, right?
Mhm.
But there was a firewall. So like, if you Google something, you could Google it, but you cannot open the page. But probably they were not the smartest engineers who were doing this protection because in Google, if you go there, at least maybe it was that like 2 3 years back, you can see the old version of that page, and that old version of the page is opening at the Google domain itself.
Okay.
So you are not actually being redirected to the new domain name, right? You are still within Google,
Hmm.
which is open for whatever reason, and you can still on that page the previous history of the page. So that's how I was googling some tasks and stuff. So
Wow.
what I would do, I am on the watch, it's nighttime, uh, I'm standing on the ship's bridge, monitoring the situation. If you are in the open ocean, nothing happens. I will go back to the ship's computer, find some JavaScript algorithm, remember it or write it down on the paper. Then I go forward, I will switch on the light, I will write the code on the paper, try to make the algorithm work. Then I go back, quickly type something in the console, see if it works or no. If it works, great, next task. If it doesn't work, okay, go back to the pen and paper and try to fix it. So that was quite a challenge. That was quite a
I
challenge.
can imagine. I mean, I always hated writing code in paper. I can imagine like going through that process just to learn something. Uh, how long did you have to do that for?
So first I started on the ship. It was for about 4 or 5 months. Then I came back home and I started CS50 by Harvard. I think I finished it in a week or two or so because I was just doing that like full
Right.
time, and that is great. I think what was his name? David Malan, I think. David? Not sure. The instructor, the
Right.
teacher
Hmm.
that teaches CS50 introduction course, a great course, amazing. I learned some basics of C, what is memory, what is pointers, references, and everything. It was super cool. And then there was a bit of Python, HTML, CSS. So it gives you like a very nice base,
Uh-huh.
but it's not for everyone again because like each lecture is about 2 hours, 1.5 to 2 hours, and for some people, like for example for my wife, it's not her approach.
Right.
Like she likes smaller, shorter information.
Yep.
Like she is a big fan of Best Boss and his tutorials. But for me, CS50 was great. I would just put on the headphones with the notes and start writing notes, trying to soak as much information as I can. Then again, I went back on a ship, another 6 months. That time, I focused mostly on building some small projects. And I mean, in the meantime, because it's like 70 hours a week you are working, right?
Right. Yeah.
So in the meantime, when I had some time, I was learning that. And I was doing free code camp a lot, especially the like algorithms and all the basics. And then basically I came back home and I made one more project and I started applying for jobs. So it took me like 1 year
Right.
from the moment I started learning to the moment I started applying for the job. Basically 1 year, and in about like 2 or 3 weeks I found my first job.
Nice. But the way you tell it, it sounds like if you didn't have to go to the ship, it would have been shorter, like 6 months, something like that. Because if you were like half, full time going through the whole thing, it's amazing the progress you made, with that level of like limitations.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not sure if that would take me less time. Because see, I set myself a goal. Like I have 1 year.
Right.
I want to learn as much as I can in 1 year. So probably if I would be like working at home or just staying at home and not working on a ship, it would still probably take me 1 year.
Okay. That's
It
fair.
because when you're on a ship, the thing is like you're on a ship. Like you have either you are working or you don't work.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
there is no in between. You work, you don't work. That's it. So there is no things like family and
That's
friends that
fair.
you
Yeah.
go, spend one evening somewhere there, then weekend somewhere you go for traveling or something. So you are focused on that thing. You just finished your 10 hours a day or 12 hours a day. You have some 2-3 hours you can dedicate it to the learning. So probably it would still take me 1 year, maybe even more.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay. But you did amazing, because to find a job in 3 weeks with no prior experience, what was that like? What did you use to apply? Did you use, how did you find a job? What was that? Well, was it a good job? Was it a crappy job?
It was a nice job actually. It was, of course, by US standards. Like
Well,
it was like the cheapest thing you can ever imagine. But again, like even compared to Ukraine, in Ukraine it was, let's say, for a junior developer it was around 500 $600 a month
hmm,
salary. I found my first job, it was 1,800 euros a month, so it's a big difference. Yes, I had to take a pay cut of about like almost 50%, I would say. So it's like half the salary immediately. But that was my dream. I
yeah,
wanted, and that was my goal. Um, how was I applying? Again, I said like, okay, I think I arrived home from the ship was like 23rd September or something. I said to myself, okay, till October I have this time just to unwind and relax a bit, and then for next 4 months, looking for work is my work. And that's basically what I was doing. I would wake up every morning at 8 a.m., go to my office, sit till 6, 7 p.m. I am searching for work. I am applying, I'm sending
wow,
resumes, cover letters, all blah, 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 everything. And then, like, after 7 p.m., I will go home, meet my wife, we will go somewhere and so on. And then, still, even after, before the bed, I was just like scrolling LinkedIn and applying to everything. So, uh, probably I would say that was a numbers game.
hmm,
And I believe that when you're searching for your first work, most of the times
absolutely,
it's a numbers
yeah,
game. My only limitation again, it was that I was looking for a remote work only, because again I didn't want to work for $500 in Ukrainian company.
hmm,
And that's I would say that's basically it. I mean, there are some tips, some hacks that I was using, but most of all it was just like every single day on every single job platform that you have that is available, that is like literally exist.
yeah,
I was just looking for the jobs, updating, refreshing pages, sending resumes and everything, and of course sometimes trying to make some finish my side projects.
right. No, but definitely, I mean, you must have sent hundreds of applications in that time.
Oh, I think it was about 260 or something.
Yeah, yeah,
I still remember
sounds
the
about
number, yeah.
right.
And 3 interviews from those. No, sorry, there was two test tasks. One, they just simply ghosted me after the test task. One, they didn't like it, and one, I've got an actual interview, and that's the job that I've got.
Wow.
Basically, so far, I have an interview, I have a job. Uh, that's how I'm going.
But then, so out of 260 around resumes, just three replied back.
Yeah.
That's
Thing is, I mean, there is a lot of factors, I believe. I didn't hold any grudge on the people who were actually reviewing the resume, because I was applying, first of all, for European companies only, like exclusively European countries. Ukraine is not part of EU. I was not in the EU. I have no experience,
yeah,
and I'm coming from completely unrelated field.
yes,
So I mean, at times I feel sad. I felt sad. I felt some devastated and like what I'm even doing, blah blah blah. But on the other hand, when you weigh all your negatives, you understand that like realistically speaking, it's even good that I found the job anyway.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's like you said. I mean, coming from somewhere else, the geographic location, and the fact that you had no experience, you found it very fast. There are
Yep.
people who spend a year or two trying to find their first dev job. So, but then again, I want to like emphasize the fact that you literally made it your job to find a job. That I love how you
Yep.
phrased it. It's like it's not just sending a couple resumes a week. You were 8 hours a day sending resume after resume, and either getting ignored or replied with a no. I just kept going, and that's how you do it. I mean, that's how you get your first opportunity. There's no way, there's no open source hack, there's no Twitter hack. I mean, you just have to keep going until someone decides to take an opportunity with you. That's how it is.
I mean, there are some things like networking definitely would help. I have not had anyone basically at that point, and even what was that? It was what 2021, end of the 2021. Even the market was not that favorable anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So even with referrals, it was harder. And but yeah, I mean that's basically the advice I always give to anyone who will ask me like how to look for the job, how to look for the job. I mean, if you have resources, you have time, you have dedication, just make searching for a work your work, day to day work, overtime, do overtime. I mean, it's in your best interest, right?
Absolutely.
So, and this is the same like I was searching for my second work. This is the same like I was searching for my third work. It was always like that.
All right, that's fair. All right, so going back to the learning process, the journey, is there anything that you would change now that you've got it, you made it, you're a developer? Going thinking back to that year, is there anything that you would change about it?
Yes, I would probably spend even more time building projects. And on one hand, I feel that it was a great decision. On another hand, not that great. Uh, I'm pretty stupid at this point uh, in this regard. So for me, like if you're building some project, right? Let's say one of my small projects that I was building, it was like some kind of a library. Uh, I don't have a data. Like you want to be front end developer.
Right.
You need a data. Like you can, if you like actually want to show your skills that you can work with the APIs, you can work
Yeah.
with asynchronous programming and stuff. You need to have a data. Where do you get the data? There are some open APIs, yes, but they are not always what you really need. So you end up then being kind of a full stack
Right.
just to make a project. So on one hand, I'm very happy that I did that. On the other hand, not that much because I didn't had much to show. And when you are applying for a front end role as a junior, nobody really much cares about what did you do in this Node.js or something.
Right.
So that's one thing. But I'm happy that I did it because now I'm working as full stack basically. um, what I would change, I would not spend time watching video courses. There are some great ones. There are some very good ones, but I don't really like the courses where you just blindly follow by building the projects. It's nice, it shows you something, but again, it shows you you are very isolated. Like you are within the boundaries of that project, you are within the boundaries of what your instructor or whoever, how they set up IDE, how they set up the development environment. If they are using, let's say, like will somebody, let's say, will release a course in 2024 right now with for React using Create React App. Like the moment you finish this course, you have no clue what are all those config files
Right.
are, what the heck is Create React App, how to even reuse it again, right? The people will start talking you about Vite and something else. It's complete madness. And like this is one downside of building by projects. And again, it's a huge mistake when people just follow the course, they finish the course, they abandon the project. Because I feel that one of the best things you can use project based learning is when you have built the project, but while you're building and after you build it, you keep adding features, you keep adding your own stuff which is not covered by the
Right.
course. Like you're building some, let's say, simple example, some to-do list, right? They made a to list, the guide is over. Keep building it, add more features, like add features to move it to another to-do list, right? Or make it feature that you can bulk edit or bulk delete or bulk add. Like there are so many features you can actually add in to-do list,
Yeah.
that while yes, if you look at the surface, another to-do list app, but it can be like very simple to-do list app, or it can be like super advanced to-do list
Absolutely.
app, which is like exactly showing that you are very great and you have great skills. So I would say that I did that. I was making a lot of like features on top of the project courses, but still, like I think I was taking the course Zero to Hero React course or something like
Hmm.
that. But with the by the guys with the abs and great body, I don't remember what his name, Andrew something. They have even like Zero to Hero website, I think. And in 1 week, I don't remember what was on the course, like literally, because you just copy paste what doing typing whatever they are doing. I didn't remember any single thing.
Right.
Like I opened the laptop in front of me, project from scratch, I don't remember a single thing.
Yeah.
And going and navigating between the videos trying to find that particular
Yeah,
second
I
when
know
they
that's
did
impossible.
something,
Yeah.
it's super hard. That's why I am a big fan of text-based courses, because you can quickly find the references, you can quickly find where they did what. And especially if it's a nicely structured text-based course, they give you additional resources, they give you some hyperlinks, they give
True.
you some more things to read, to learn. I think Odin Project was great for its time. Odin Project helped me a lot, but I think at that point they kind of didn't maintain it properly.
Okay.
Now this, I think now they are maintaining it again, but at that particular point they kind of dropped it and it was quite outdated. So I was using it with a great full stack course by University of Helsinki. It's a Nord stack, amazing course. Um, what other something else? But mostly like then once you have some basics, you just build.
Right.
And I know it's hard to just build, like what
Yes,
to build,
absolutely.
what to build. But there is Chat GPT right now,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
you can ask, like, give me 150,000 ideas
Yeah.
about like build with React, and it will give you. And the greatest thing is that, I mean, again, it's like depends
Hmm.
how we like to say it. But on one hand, it can be even your project manager. Like literally, ChatGPT can be your project manager. You can give them an idea, you can give it an idea, you can give like the outline what you want, or even ask him to tell you an idea
Yeah.
and outline what it should be. And basically, like, be my project manager. Give me the tasks, what to build, what will be the next feature, and so on.
Yeah.
And you will get an experience. Like you will be getting an experience how to build the projects.
Absolutely.
Even
Yeah.
in yeah, sorry.
No, no, no. I just wanted to say that I never thought about ChatGPT that way, but it's definitely an interesting way of using it because I don't think it's useful when you're just learning to like give me the code for
No,
this
no.
feature because you're not really going through the process. You're just reading code. But using it that way to give you ideas or keep give you a guidance of what to implement next or what to look out for things like that. That's interesting.
I basically, like, my wife is right now, she is learning how to code. She is on React stage now. But from the very first day, I told her, don't use ChatGPT.
Yeah,
You can, like, if you are super stuck and you Googled everything and you can't find anything, probably ChatGPT will not give you an answer as
yeah.
well. But then you can ask. And it's only after you ask me. but uh, but don't. I mean, you can again try to make it to be your teacher if you configure it very well. but still probably it will be giving you either some hallucinating
Yeah.
stuff or something super outdated. So nah, better don't. Like, go and search, because this is one of the things that, like, again, I have these degrees, right? They are completely useless for what I am doing right now
Right.
at work. But they taught me one single thing, which is, I think, cost all the money and time and energy I spent on it. They taught me how to search for
Yeah.
information. Because when you are studying for 6 years in university, you will learn how to search for
Absolutely.
information.
Yes. Absolutely.
And this is the research skill is super valuable and it is super important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's why don't go for ready information, research it yourself.
Yeah. Agree with that. It's a key skill for any developer. Learning
Yeah,
where finding learning to find your trustworthy source information, picking up, learning how to discern that these others are not trustworthy. You should not be paying attention to them, and figuring out how to quickly search and find solutions,
yeah,
definitely, because we're not here to remember everything by heart, and trying to remember how to implement every single algorithm by ourselves.
yes.
So definitely.
Um, like, just a quick thing. In seafaring, we had not a saying, but it's basically just the most important thing is to know where to find the information or how to find the information. Because at shipping, we have, like, I don't know, these thick books,
Yeah.
like hundreds of them, and those are all the codes, requirements, regulations and stuff. It's impossible to know them all by heart.
Yeah.
But if you search a few times, you can quickly find the information. It's basically like an indexing,
Yeah.
like a database indexing
Yeah.
in your brain. Basically, you're like, okay, I know I need something to about, like, I know CSS. Okay, I know where to find it. Go there, search for it.
Yeah.
It's basically indexing, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. 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 A quick index. Um,
Yeah.
all right. And on that note, you said so. You said you define yourself as a self-taught developer, and you are. But at the same time, you are saying that your formal education, even though it wasn't about computer science, it's still giving you value. So, where do you stand on the everlasting debate of formal education versus self-taught developer? Is there a better one? Does it matter?
Um, well, first, very important note that every single developer, doesn't matter you have degree or you don't have degree, you are ending up being self-taught developer, and this is in every single career, in every single industry. You just don't get enough information in
Right.
university in 5 years that will help you to go through your career forever.
Yeah.
Never ever. You always have to learn in every single career. That's first thing. Second thing, I have a strong opinion about degrees and about being self taught, that if you have time, resources, and opportunity to get a degree, get a degree. Say you are 18 years old, 16 years old, God knows where people graduate from the high school. If you have availability and opportunity to get a degree, because it doesn't only it doesn't only give you some knowledge, right? Of course, in 5 years, most of you will forget. In another 5 years, you will forget most of what they taught you. They give you some great foundation, some great basics, yes, but you have, and this is what we call it, that university is basically the school of life, because you get to know how to communicate with people, how to work with teams, in teams. You learn, I don't know how to say this in English, but being like that, not like snake,
Yeah. Yeah.
but being like that,
Flexible,
you're learning to being adaptive. Like,
adaptable. Yeah. Yeah.
somewhere, you need to be like more calmer, somewhere you need to be more, not aggressive, but like more confident, somewhere you need to say yes, somewhere you need to say no. So it's a school of life. It's a great it's a great experience that you won't get in school, and you barely will get it at work.
Right.
And that's why I am also quite sure that a lot of people who are career switchers, right, that when they get to their first junior developer job, even though they don't have a formal education or something, they are way better junior developers than the junior developers right from the
Agree.
university. Simply because, again, they have life experience, they know how to work.
Yeah.
And again, and now let's say if you don't have university and you don't have prior work experience, you're just fresher, you don't know how to work, you don't know how to learn. I mean, it's, of course, it's all in very individual. Like, but on the other hand, like if you are 35 years old, you have a wife or husband, you have partner, basically, you have 2 kids and a dog, you both work on full-time work. I understand that it's barely possible
Yeah.
for you to go and perceive, formal education. Like today, for example, I checked. I was just curious because eventually I want to get my CS degree.
Okay.
I would like to have it, but like I checked it today in the university in the city where I live, because I'm still international student, right? I have to pay $46,000 a year.
A year.
No, thank you. A year.
Wow.
It's a year, so it's $180,000 to get my
Yeah.
degree.
Yeah.
Meh.
Let's think about
And
that.
now
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking like, yeah, and I don't have kids. I don't have like I only have a wife,
Hmm.
right? But like if you have kids and dog and you like maybe mortgage, because
Yeah.
probably if you are 35, 40 years, you probably have already mortgage if you're lucky enough. So, do you really need degree? I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably, but again, it all depends on you. Like I have seen people who have degree from the same university as me, and they were like a wood.
Yeah.
Like I think if you put a chair would do better job. But I also have seen like people without degree at all, and they were doing amazing job, and they are doing some crazy stuff.
Yeah. No,
So
absolutely.
degree doesn't always
Hmm.
say that you are great.
Agree. Agree. Yeah, it depends on the person, absolutely. But I think that it definitely gives you a lot more, like you said, other than the content itself, the experience, it's a very formative one. Yeah, absolutely.
We have a saying we have a saying that with a paper you are a person, without the paper you are a piece of shit. So basically, I mean, even like just having this degree on your stupid resume,
Hmm.
even this does not matter anything. I mean, especially if you have already experience. Like if you have 3, 4, 5 years of experience, the degree it still matters, but not that much,
Right.
right? But just because it's there on the paper, it's much more likely that you will be picked from the pool of candidates.
Yeah,
That's how it works.
absolutely. Yeah, it definitely gives you an advantage. Absolutely.
Yep.
All right. I want to go back a second because I wanted to ask you, and then I forgot about that. So you said you had no choice but to learn JavaScript, right? How
Yep.
did you land on React? So essentially, what I'm trying to say is, once you got the basics out of the way and you understood JavaScript, you had to pick something. There were several frameworks or libraries out there. How did you ended up on React, and why did you choose that one first?
um okay, that's more of a career development than learning,
True.
but just so I am a tricky bastard. uh, I understand that while other frameworks are great, i go I go with the money. So first of all, what is the easiest what is the easiest job you can get as a junior developer? Probably front end. One of the easiest. What is the fastest to learn? Front end. One of the easiest. So they basically, like, the ROI, return of
Yeah,
investment. I need to spend less time to start making money faster.
that's fair.
First of all. Second of all, what makes money? You go on your job market, go in Europe, put yourself like, I want to be in European Union, remote setting, everything. Okay, React, 25,000 jobs. Angular, 300 jobs. Svelte, one job,
Right.
maybe. But you got my point.
Yeah, yeah.
You see, like, where you are more likely to get a job, where it's like one single application and they are looking for a Svelte developer or whatever, or some Ember. or there are like 25,000 jobs looking for React.
Easy.
Obvious.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is the quickest to learn? Where you have the most opportunities? For me, it was front end React. That was the start. I was driven by that idea, but then when I learned React, I started learning it, and I learned like thinking in React and so on. I just fell in love with that, and I really much loved how they think about like components and state and all this reactivity, which is it's not actually reactive, but doesn't matter. Um, and I really just fell in love into that. I started interested like how it works under the hood. I wanted to learn more about it. And then the problem is that React, because of the way how it is working, like for me, when I opened Vue, and I was like, what the piece of shit is this? It's like, how do I even, what is this HTML? Why should I write HTML? No, but then of course, I mean, like the moment you start writing it, you start getting the ways of
Yeah.
how they think. It's basically like if you learn one thing, you will learn all of them. It's they are all on the same foundations. They're all based on the same principles, same everything. And then yeah, I kind of liked Vue as well. So, but I mean, if at this point in time I had to make a new project, it would be React,
Yeah.
just because I love it.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I actually like Svelte a lot, but it's like, I just, it comes natural. I'm not a front end developer. I mean, I've never worked as a front end developer, but it clicks on me. So I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I can say for React as well. It just clicked on me, and it don't let me go. Doesn't let me go.
It just got you forever.
Yeah.
All right, all right. And on that note, so you went the basics first and then framework path. Um, would you recommend that for everyone, or would you say there is a point in going framework first and then becoming a React developer or a Vue developer, and then eventually learning the basics of JavaScript and programming in general?
No, I am old school motherfucker. I don't.
I love that you're an old
You
school
go on.
motherfucker who has 3 years of experience. So that it's
Yes.
an interesting. It's like,
Yeah. I mean, old school in the meaning of learning
yeah,
things.
yeah, yeah, I know, I get
Learn
it. Yeah,
basics.
yeah,
Learn the fundamentals, please, because this is approach. I mean, I was doing the same at shipping, right? Like if you know the basics, if you know the fundamentals, everything else is simple.
yeah. You're right, right, right.
Things are changing, like, but white will always be white, sun will always be sun, and black will always be black. At its fundamentals, its basics.
Yeah,
Like nobody will come to you in 10 years and they will say like, you know what, we are making breaking change in C, and we are updating it across all versions,
yeah,
and now we need to, nobody will do that.
yeah,
So these are the fundamentals. React is changing. Like look at even recently, like I started learning React. It was still class-based
yeah,
components. I mean, they were slowly migrating. Then functional components. Then you have hooks. Then you have now server-side component, server-side rendering first, then server-side
yeah.
components. So it is evolving.
Mm-hmm.
But if you understand JavaScript, if you understand the basics, just not even JavaScript, programming in general,
Yeah,
like those, they are all sharing the same concept. If you understand that, it will be super easy for you to switch. Like if you just learn React, just React, and then they will give you like Vue code, it will be way harder for you to understand what the heck is going
true.
on there than if you understand the basics. Except for Angular. Angular is a mystery for me. I will never touch that.
Yes, absolutely. That's safe. I feel the same way.
Yeah, but and it's the same thing. Like for example, if you know JavaScript, like I probably, okay, Python is very simple example, but probably if I will jump in Python right now, it will take me 2 days to adjust to it,
Mm-hmm.
get some syntaxes, but I can write it. Like okay, things like Rust, no, because Rust is different. It's just, I mean, the logic is same, but it's just different how you write the syntax and
Right.
everything. But if we are talking about some like high level languages, like you will easily pick it up. And I am the basics guy. I don't like, if you don't know JavaScript and React gives you stack trace error, how will you even understand what does it say?
Right. Yeah.
Like what does it even mean? Or like like you cannot use can't access method of undefined. Like, what does it mean?
Right.
So yeah, and I also think that, again, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm old school kind of guy in this regard, that I like to know how internals work. Like, I like to understand that, and I feel that this helps me even with React. Like, I can see the React error, and in like 95% of the cases I can understand approximately where it could have happened,
Right.
that it has reached this component. Not sure that without the fundamentals it will be that easy.
Agree. Agree. Definitely. There is a.
So basics,
Sorry.
go
Yeah.
basics.
Go basics. Yeah. Basics team. Yeah. All right. All right. Next topic would be, where would you recommend, so based on everything that you've done, the right things, the wrong things, what would be your number one, two recommendations for someone new to look into, learning, for learning resources, let's put it that way?
Are we talking about some particular thing or in general?
Well, I guess in general.
uh in general, one thing, like, okay, I will say about JavaScript has documentation, but kind of doesn't have documentation.
Yes.
But you can go to the specification of it. But like, MDN is great. God bless MDN.
Yeah.
MDN is our Bible. If you're a web developer, especially like front end or anything, basically, MDN is your go-to for most of the things. They have step-by-step tutorials for complete beginners. They have very, very good resources, and I mean, I think it's one of the best. The second thing, if you really want to understand JavaScript, javascript.info, excellent resource. They give super great examples, very detailed explanation of how everything works. Though, if I am not mistaken, they don't have step by step,
Okay.
or they have. I'm not exactly sure. Then, if you want to, freshen up or learn some basics, I would still recommend CS50. It's free by Harvard. David Malan, I think it's David, but basically,
Whoever it is.
great
Yeah.
teacher, super enthusiastic, super passionate about what he's doing. They have a lot of the other courses, but like for me, the teachers just don't, just they don't work.
Okay.
Uh, if you want to go more into formal education kind of stuff, and you have time and you have will, because I tried a few times, I couldn't. Uh, Open Source Society University, I think it's called that way.
Okay.
Basically, it's an open source GitHub repository of links and different free, mostly free resources that cover all 4 years of formal education.
Wow.
They You can find anything there. I as well prefer to get content from universities and colleges and stuff like that. Coursera, many other great resources where actual professors give you basically the knowledge.
Right.
Why I do that way? First of all, it's free. So for them, it's not about, I need to make more money.
Right. That's fair.
It's not about that. Second of it, I mean, they are professors for a reason. They make super structural, super like amazing approach, which, and especially if you will be interested in the future in making some content and stuff, it will also help you greatly, because you see how professionals do it,
Right.
how people who make living from it do it in the best universities in the world. This is like, I mean, we live in the best times to learn anything.
True.
Like, you literally can go online and you can see Harvard professor giving you lectures on how to do something, how to
Yes.
learn something.
Yeah.
I mean, MIT professors, whatever you want, like the best universities in the world. Um, so I would go with those, and documentation, of course. Please read docs. Please read docs. We write them for you.
Right.
Please read docs. And of course, not all docs are great, but
True.
the new, let's say, new React docs, I think Dan Abramov, he spent a lot of time in that. They are amazing. I would personally as well recommend his book, not the promotion. I don't. earn anything from that. But his book, what was that? Oh my god, something. I mean, if you put Dan Abramov JavaScript book, you will find it.
Okay.
Uh, Excellent book as well. I really loved it, and I think this is the first time when I've heard like how he explained variables. Like usually when people explain variables, they explain them with boxes.
Yeah.
Like you put something in the box, that is a
Yeah.
variable. And he had a different approach into that. So like variables, the values, they just exist, and the variable is basically a string from your program
To
to that variable,
interesting.
to
To the
that
value.
to that value. Yeah, so value never changes; it always stays there. You just change where this string points.
Interesting.
I mean, it's really nice book. He is a great author, and I mean, I enjoyed it a lot. Also bought it for my wife. uh, what else? I would say Prime Agent.
Okay.
Prime Agent mentioned.
Yeah.
Prime Agent mentioned. I would say he has a great resources. I love watching his videos. He has a very good take on not only programming. I don't watch his streams mostly, but he has a very good takes on software development industry in general and how software has to be developed. I love it. I usually learn from him. It's not like he is giving some particular point. No, he just like
Yeah, he
throws in
has
the air
conversations.
with
Yeah.
your responsibility to catch it or not
Mm-hmm.
or miss it.
Yeah.
Um, so I would say these are the most like resources that I would use right now. Mostly text based, easy to. They are basically portable, easy to make notes, easy to remember, easy to come back and refresh. Official documentation, university resources and stuff.
That's fair.
I would go that way.
Nice list.
By the way, buy my JavaScript course. I'm joking. I don't have it
Yet.
yet.
Yet. I mean, I would definitely buy a JavaScript course by JavaScript Messiah. So you have the title there. You just have to take advantage of it. All right. So last question, and then you'll be free. So getting to the first, getting your first job is like, it's not the end goal. It's just the first step in the huge ladder.
Of course.
What would you recommend developers to do to improve after that point? You spend a year and a half, 2 years learning, trying to get your first job, and then you're there at the beginning. You're a junior developer. How do you move past that?
All right. So, first of all, as much as people would like to say that developers are some tech genius, scientists, engineers, and stuff, let's be honest, most of us are blue collar workers. And for blue collar worker to be greater at their skill and their trade, what they need to do, they need to practice. You can't become better smith if you don't smith anything. So build, always build. Once you get enough experience and you have some project you really like and you're passionate about, try open source. I will have another not hot take, but basically a take on open source a bit later.
Okay.
But I would not recommend beginners do it. But let's discuss it later on. So build, always practice, read, always learn. I know he's crazy communist from dark eras of Soviet Union, but as he always said, what's his name, Lenin. Learn, and always learn,
All right.
because basically that's what will help you. Learn from industry experts, but not those experts who post top 10 design ideas
Right.
for your website. No, that's bullshit. Learn it from actual experts in the industry. Read case studies, especially from big companies, like say AWS, Cloudflare, and so on. They have a blog for a reason, and their blog, while yes, it is marketing, sometimes, especially when they have some outage or some issue,
Yes.
data leak, anything, and then they throw like a blog explaining how did it happen and what they did to prevent it. It's an amazing read and amazing information which you will never ever experience
True.
unless you work at the companies of that scale. So read, so many resources right now. Some are better, some are worse, but The problem is that some of those resources are harder to find, especially the deep, like the deeper you go, but the higher in your career you
Mm-hmm.
go, it's harder and harder to find those resources. You will find gazillions of resources how to make your first console log in
Yes,
JavaScript,
absolutely.
but you will find maybe one single article of 25-year-old article somewhere deep on the internet, which will teach you so much stuff.
Yeah,
You will never you could never learn it in a
that's
years.
true.
So I would say read, dig for information if you're really passionate about, if you're really curious, or you just want to make money and you want to grow in your career. Read and learn, because uh, I would just say that what I was told once, that maybe it's because of my past, maybe because of how I develop or something, but because I'm reading so much and I'm consuming information not only about like how to build software, but how to run software, how to manage teams, and how, how to, all of these things are interesting to me, that people are saying, even though I have like almost 3 years of experience, people are saying that I'm more senior
Yeah,
than some of the seniors, just because you get so much information about.
yeah,
Because senior, like, titles don't really matter, right? You can work for 20 years, be senior, or
absolutely.
you can be work for 4 years, be senior,
Yeah,
and be better than them. So learn, always learn, and practice.
solid advice.
I mean, what else? It's just a simple formula. You learn the theory, you practice.
Yeah,
It's the simplest as it can be. It's just that you have to do it. Like, you can't just sit and wait that one day some extremely experienced senior engineer will just come, pat on your head and will say like, I will tell you now the magic what we are doing to be the best developers. No, that doesn't happen,
yeah,
unfortunately. I
absolutely.
wish somebody would come like that to me, but
No, it doesn't. It doesn't happen. All right.
yeah.
All right. Okay. This is it. But before we go, I want to hear your hot take about open source.
All right. Um, don't contribute to open source if you are junior, or if you want to get your first job. This is the worst advice anyone can get. This is the worst advice anyone could give.
All right.
And, like, again, open source is open source, right? Like, some people, let's say, what's his name, Eddie Jarou,
Yeah.
Eddie. I don't remember exactly his surname. He is like open source evangelist,
Yes.
advocate,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. He has a lot of great takes, and he has the Linktree. I think it's called Linktree. He has like open source project which is tailored for beginners. It's very simple. It's well documented in a very simple terms,
Right.
very simple explanations and everything. But when people say blindly, like, go contribute to open source, what you expect that person that has never seen anything,
Yeah.
they just do their pet projects, they will go to, like, what, express core repository, and they will start contributing into that? No. Why I hate this advice is because people start looking for, like, popular open source projects for beginners. They go to into repositories like React, Axios, I don't know, something else. I'm mostly about, like, JavaScript,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But because I'm in that. But anyway, like Panda or something, they will go there. They will see those issues. They will not understand a single thing what is written in that GitHub issue, and they will be just thinking, "Oh, I am so freaking dumb."
That's fair.
Reality is that in most cases, majority of those issues are actually easy fixes, but you need to be so well aware about
The project.
the
Yeah.
code
Mm-hmm.
base, how this whole data flow runs, how everything works, so that you can see this issue, you can immediately understand, it should be somewhere there, I can go and look for it, and then you test it, and then, we don't know, none of us know everything, we just go and we finger it and we figure it
Yeah.
out. So what a stupid advice. Like, if you are advising that, go create an open source project that juniors or beginners are free to contribute and free to, get the experience. But again, you need to have so much passion for beginner developers to be able to allocate so much of your free time to manage open source project.
Yes.
Because what is the point? You have 50 juniors or beginners come to your project. They have no clue. There is no roadmap. There is no explanation. There is no tasks for them. Like, they will start just putting something, you will not have time to review it. Even if you will have time to review it, you will not have time to actually mentor them and give them the advice how it should be done. So the idea itself is, while it's great, what
Yeah.
I would recommend if you are a beginner, and especially if you are active on social media, probably if you hear this podcast, you are. Uh, Go find 1, 2, 3 people and try to make a team project with them. Try to create a Trello board, create a GitHub repo, make some rules in between of yourself, how you are doing it, that everything should go through the PR should be reviewed, request for review, use Git, use everything. Start marking the things on the Trello,
Yeah.
start putting them in the boards from one to another to third one. Try to make some CI/CD workflows, processes. This will give you so much experience of how actual software is running, that not a single open source package will do it for you, because you are just like, I think I have it was Tanstack query documentation, I think. So they had a stupid bug when you in mobile view, like, I think their sidebar was not scrolling completely and you couldn't get to the last few places or something. I don't remember, few links. I think I submitted my PR there in 6 months back. Nothing. It's still there, open. So, and I mean, that's the thing. And for very active open source projects, it's super hard to like actually entry into those
Yeah.
projects and start doing something. Even like, the last thing I will say, people even say like, but don't worry if you don't know where to start. Just contribute with some documentation. Like, but you need to know what documentation.
Yeah.
Like, again, documentation is not so simple to write. You need to understand the whole freaking thing
Yeah.
to be able to even change something. Like, and nobody will care about your PR if you put a comma somewhere. Like, that doesn't count. It doesn't mean that you're a passionate developer or anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I get your
that's
point.
that's my take.
Yeah, I get your point. It sounds like learning through open source is like learning how to swim by just jumping into a lake and hoping for the best.
Yes.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Hoping that overworked and underappreciated open source maintainer will come and save you, but they are busy with 300 people like
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see that. I can see that. I mean, to play the devil's advocate, there is a lot of people who have gone through that process and somehow they came out swimming. But yeah, I getting into open source has been a problem in my mind forever. I mean, I never properly got into it because there is no easy way. Like you said, I mean, sure, I'll contribute. Where do I start?
Yeah.
You know, what do I do? There are a lot of guys to give you like the first tip, but then you're lost. So it's not easy,
Yeah.
absolutely. So it's definitely it's like going through the hard mode. But yeah. Anyway, all right, that's it. I mean, we've way over our time. I just wanted this to be a 30-minute episode, and we're hitting the hour. So I mean, dude, it was amazing. So thank you, Sergey. As usual, it's a pleasure to have you on the show and chat with you. So nothing, just remind our listeners where they can find you and how they can reach out to you.
Oh, you can find me mostly everywhere. If you just combine my name and surname, Sergei Kirianov, at Sergei Kirianov, you will find me on Twitter. You can find me as well on Instagram. It's JS Messiah, but I barely post there. Twitter, if you want something super personal, you can email me. It's s.kirianov@gmail.com. I will wait for your mails. Other than that, I mean, like, mostly Twitter,
All right,
95% of the time.
awesome. All right, that's it. Thank you again, Sergey.
Thank you so much, Fernando.
And thank you,
Enjoy.
everyone, for listening. And I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Bye bye.
And that was it for this episode of the Scripting Them podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Remember that you can find me online on Twitter at TheLeadMan123. And you can also find the podcast YouTube channel just searching for the Scripting Them on YouTube. Thank you again, and catch you on the next one.